God for me. He said, he don't have to look through for me, don't I? Most gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for guidance as we make decisions on the betterment of our nation. Just be with us as we go through this meeting and guide and lead us. And we just thank you. We give you all the praise in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Speaker. Shelley, roll call.
Yes, sir. Mike Shambaugh,
Here.
Harley Buzzard, Keith Austin, Joe Byrd, Julia Coates, Sean Crittenden, Joe Deere, Mike Dobbins, Kanan Duncan, Rex Jordan, Darrell Legg, Wes Snowfire, Dora Petzkowski, Mary Baker Shaw, E.O. Smith, Janice Taylor, Victoria Vasquez. We have a quorum.
All right, if you had a chance to look at the minutes, could I have a motion? Second. All right, all in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, do we have actual bodies here? All right. Jennifer Kirby. All right, there she is. Good deal.
As Jennifer's making her way up, I want to thank the Indian Child Welfare people for giving us this goodie bag, and I think you even have a little snack there, so let's give them a little applause for just making us through the afternoon. Thank you, Indian Child Welfare.
All right, Jennifer, what do you have for us today?
Well, I always like to start out to see if you have any questions on our report or any questions from council.
Any questions for Jennifer?
I just need the burial assistance contact information.
Are you meaning like you would like a copy of the burial contract?
No. Who people need to get in touch with and a phone number or something for that.
Oh, okay. Any of our managers within Family Assistance Department would be a contact. But can I just get you a list? That way I make sure to get you the correct phone numbers.
Perfect. Thank
Could you get that for all the council?
Yes,
All right, thank you.
yes.
Any other questions or comments?
Jennifer, would you please just go over the guidelines? It's been a while, and we've changed some of those. Burial policy, what are they eligible for? Does the Bureau of Indian Affairs still have input in that?
Yes, it is a contracted service, very basic. I would really like to kind of get you guys a good breakdown, so I don't say something that's not necessarily included, but it does not include anything like flowers or the videos or anything of that nature, or a headstone. It is just the very basic things there at the funeral, but I would like to kind of give you that something, maybe show you a breakdown.
Sure.
So that I don't misquote anything that maybe someone might think that was supposed to be included in the burial.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Keith?
I don't know about other people. I'm speaking for myself, but frankly, I think a respectful, small headstone is basic. That's not a luxury item. Something to be able to identify who actually lays here. And that's something that I would like us to find a way to do.
And for clarification, Joe Deere put we passed something that he submitted to the council for the basic headstone. I think they're about $125. They're not huge, they're $200, but we passed a budget for headstones for archaeological sites that may not have headstones and for people that cannot afford headstones. And I think that's through CCO. I think they're the operators of that.
So does anybody know how to apply for that over there? Because I know when they go to your department, they're not directed to that. Is that correct?
Right.
Right, it's not something that we have included in our contract, but, my leadership would have to let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Chief?
It actually is CCO. It's part of the cemetery restoration grant legislation that Councilor Deere had proposed and we enacted.
Thank you, sir.
Chief, but like for indigent folks that just do not have money, are we allowed to use that for a headstone? Because it's not an elaborate headstone by no means. It's about maybe a half-inch thick.
Yeah, Counselor, if I recall, there were some parameters in that legislation that was designed to be historic preservation, so it had to be a burial before a certain date. I think the idea was we didn't want it to be something that was an ongoing deal for new burials. So that would be a new idea. If I recall, Counselor Deere may correct me if I'm wrong.
We actually wrote the legislation to work on the old, and if it's people that do not have the income going forward, they can actually purchase it, and Mr. Enlow has reached out to that company, and they are working on that application. That's where they're at in that process, and it was $200. And what they can do, it's not just a plain Jane, you put your name on it. The family can literally take a picture of what they want and hand it in, because it's a laser, and the guy runs a laser and puts what they want to it. They want to put a dove or whatever they do on there. But yeah, it's going forward. They have the option to purchase if needed, but the thing was to restore the old ways, so that's what that was for.
So just so I'm clear, the legislative act was historic looking for historic cemeteries, but you're also talking about this opportunity with this vendor to, on a very small, relatively small amount of money, purchase.
Right, and that's an option.
Separate.
Yeah, that way they don't, as you know, when you go to funeral homes, they charge you crazy amounts of money, but this gives them an option at least to have a small amount, or the tribe has set some money that you approved to cover that cost for those that fall in those guidelines. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, I think, I know there's like 3 plans, I'm not getting into it too much, but, you know, $3,600, if they're contracted, that's what they pay, and that is the full cost of that funeral is $3,600 if they are contracted, you know, through the nation. Because I know a lot of them are. I mean, I get a lot of calls about that, but I think there's 3 different plans, but the $3,600 is the one that most of them do.
Right, yeah, there's option 1 and option 2.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. And the option 2 is, if they, it is a lesser amount, and it's more, if they add more things or more things are added, it's only a certain amount. It goes to the full cost of the burial. And the option 1, the whole funeral would be covered.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know that if we could get all that information and then go ahead and put those options, what those options are on there too, so we'll understand that. But,
Sure.
you know, you guys have been busy here lately. I know I've called you numerous times in the last couple of weeks, so I thank you for taking my calls. But it would be good, because I end up calling you all the time.
Yeah,
And if there was another number I could go through, that would be, you know.
sure,
be good.
absolutely. And we're all, you know, ready and there, ready to answer any questions that come up, so. But I would like to say, you guys mentioned Indian Child Welfare whenever I walked in, and I just wanted to kind of give a little shout out to them. They had a recent audit of their compliance of records and the record keeping, and they passed that audit, that DOJ audit. So I wanted to give a shout out to them for their excellence in their record keeping.
Good deal. Anybody else have any questions for Jennifer? Jennifer, good job. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Oh, got who?
Here.
EO. EO's got a question for you.
Has anything changed on the cremation, way they're doing on the cremation? Is there 2 programs on that?
There is, there's actually the cremation, and then also the cremation with a service, I believe. And so, but I mean, nothing's really changed. No additional, no additions to that so far, but I can break that down on there for you, when I send you guys a breakdown of those.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, Jennifer. Michael Lynn. He is here. It's good seeing y'all showing up for the meetings. I like that better.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I think you have a copy of our report, but if I could, I'd just like to touch on a couple of things. Last month, it was requested that we include the tribal council member districts and estimated project costs on our monthly reports, and we've done that. just to kind of explain on the transportation, road projects, and bridge projects. That's taken out of our Federal Highway Administration TIP, or our Transportation Improvement Program. That's a 5-year planning document that we use to allocate or obligate money to each federally funded road project that we have. Some of those amounts that you see in there may seem excessive, but that is from project inception to completion. That's not just construction. That's going to include staff time and engineering and design time, so on and so forth. And also, that same idea follows through with the water and sanitation projects. That's the amounts shown on, excuse me, on those projects are what's reported to IHS in their project data system. So that has been added for your convenience. Just want to mention that we're working on our FY22 budget process. Those are going to be due to our finance department here soon. We're working through the details on that. And then lastly, I think Ms. Kelly, Diane Kelly's mentioned this in the past, but working on a collaborative video project with her group related to road and bridge construction bidding processes. And they, pre-COVID, we had talked about getting all of our bidders or construction contractors together to kind of go over our procedures and our policies when it comes to bidding road and bridge projects. But it's since been decided to do a video, and it'll be released hopefully in between June and July. But it is something we're working on in process, so you should be seeing something on that coming in the coming months. Mr. Chair, that's all I have to report.
Anybody have any questions for Michael? Harley?
Yes, Michael, this is a good report, and I think I might have been the one to ask for that. But if you'll just look at the road report, there's between $90 million and $100 million that are being spent on roads. And so the reason I wanted to see this, and so all the tribal council members could see it, is because the state of Oklahoma, the things we're going through with them right now. And then we just need to show what we're putting into our communities out there. All these roads that you're looking at here, they're in rural communities out here for our native people. So I just wanted to make that aware. And Michael, that's a good job. I appreciate you doing this. And also the water and sanitation engineering program, how much more money we're putting out there. Because I've always said about the roads program, I'm a little partial to that, but those roads, those monies, the roads that you drive down, those benefit everybody, not just the Native American, but everybody in the general public. Anybody drives down that road, they can see what's been put out there and the money being spent. So, Michael, thank you for that. Thanks. Good report.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Joe?
Hey, Mike.
Hey.
On your report, when it talks about the roads, can you start putting on here the estimated and start completion dates on some of these?
We can do our best, and I'm not going to promise that for every single project you see on here, but we can do our best. I mean, things happen,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to environmental processes. Things can get held up with a bug, for instance. I mean, that can hold up a project for quite a few months. But if we have a solid, something that we feel comfortable with publishing, we'll definitely put that on there for you, if that
Okay.
help you.
Yeah, because that would give us information for the citizens when we get asked.
Sure, I
And not
understand.
just show that we're putting out money,
Okay,
that, so that it will happen.
sure. And it may not be a date or a month per se, but if we can narrow it down to maybe a fall of 2022 or spring of 2020.
Yeah, even that works.
Okay.
Yeah, even that works.
That would
Just
be much
something.
simpler.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right,
Very
thank you.
good. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Michael, good job. Let's move to public comments, road issues. Anybody have any questions about that? All right, Michael, good job.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Jerry Killer.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, Jerry.
You guys have my report. Does anyone have any questions?
Does anybody have any questions for Jerry? Julia?
Hi. I remember, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, that in the last meeting, you had shared with us that there was some rental assistance that extended to tribal citizens throughout the state of Oklahoma, not just within the jurisdiction.
Correct.
And maybe I misunderstood. I thought that you were going to send some information about that, and maybe I have overlooked it too, but I don't recall having received it. So I just
Okay.
wanted to
I will
ask
follow up
again.
with Gail, because I did send that over to her. It
Okay.
had the emergency rental assistance and our emergency after-hours program information on it, so I'll follow up with her and have her resend that.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Anybody else? Keith?
Just a public thanks. I have a constituent who called me practically in tears. I think she may have actually been in tears. As a matter of fact, couldn't see her, but I'm pretty sure she was very emotional. She had received assistance through a rehab team with a issue regarding her access to her house, on her driveway, that she's been dealing with literally since she built on that property. And your team was able to go and actually recognize why she continued to have this problem and resolve the problem in such a way to where she calls me after the big rains and says, this is the first time in 10 years that I've had access to my house after it rained big. And she was literally emotional over that, because for 10 years this has been an issue for her. And financially, she just couldn't get it resolved. So your team made a huge difference to this person, and they need to know it.
I will make sure
Thank
that they are
them.
aware of that. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Sean?
Just a comment, I think I said this last month, but I've had lots of housing issues this past month, but thank you, Jerry. It's sure proud to have you up there.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. Anybody else? And I'd like to brag a little bit on your emergency guys, your weekend guys or girls, whatever you got going. I think I made a call on a Friday, and it was a little after 5, and they got it done at 7. They were done with the hot water heater by 7. So, man, that's pretty impressive. That's a great program.
Thank you. I will pass that along to the staff. Thank you.
And also, one other thing, how are we on house construction? Are we on path? I mean, are we where we need to be? I mean, are we working again full-time, or?
We are, yes. So I have 32 new construction units that the bids have just come back, and we're getting ready to award bids. So we should be starting on those pretty soon.
Good deal. Anybody else have anything for Jerry? Hey, Darrell?
Jerry, well, you wasn't here last year. How much does it cost now in material to construct a new home?
So the bids that we got back, we're looking at about, on average, about $120,000. We've been previously paying in the 70s.
So what about our handicap ramps? Are we seeing a significant price increase in those?
Absolutely. Everything that takes wood, everything that takes glue, there is a huge price increase on every material that a housing project would touch.
What is it taking to build a wooden ramp now, handicap? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know right off the top of my head, but I can get those figures for you.
Okay. Have we thought about maybe looking into metal? Because I know metal hasn't gone up quite as much.
It hasn't gone up as much, but it has gone up significantly as well.
Okay. Well, if you might check and just let us know those numbers.
Sure. No problem at all.
Okay. Anybody else? Jerry, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Anna Knight. Hey, Anna.
You have a copy of my report. The only thing I have to add to it is that we finished out this year's tax preparation with about 2,300 people that we were able to assist. And it is still, we do still have until June 15th for people to file. And we help them as we can, but we're no longer taking mass appointments for it. So if you have someone who's really in a pinch and needs some assistance, they should just call us. So other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Does anybody have any questions for Anna? Anna, you got off light.
All
You're doing a good
right.
job. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, old business, none pending, new business, none pending. Are there any announcements? No announcement. The next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, June 14th at 4. Do I have a motion? Second. All right, we're done.